Good day and welcome to the dining room table. The White House holds these press briefings. Karine Jean-Pierre is the press secretary. She would come out. She would give a briefing on what's going on in national news, and the media is there, and they ask a ton of questions. And this is John Kirby. He comes out if he does have anything to report on international news. He'll come out first. He'll give his report, and then the news will ask him questions. Here he is speaking about President Biden going to Ireland. We'll have a separate video on that. What I want to put out and talk about is that there are some highly classified leaked documents. Now, the White House seems pretty concerned about these documents. They don't know where it came from. They don't know if it's internal with someone in there that has access, or if it's hacking. It's a whole investigation going on, and that's what the media seems to be focused on and asking. So that's what we're going to talk about here. Now, this is a press briefing with other questions related to other topics, but we're going to chop it up so you could just see this part with the leaked documents, and we're going to follow this. We're going to follow where did these leaked documents come from. Now, it's alleged that it's regarding Ukraine, and that uh, the U.S. is saying they see Ukraine as weak in the war with Russia, and that they're not too confident that they're going to win this war. So and if you've watched my videos, I'm these press briefings, they're talking about Ukraine in every one. Like, there's not one press briefing that Ukraine is not a topic, either through the briefing report or through the media asking a question. So this was a very hot topic. We're gonna hear what John has to say, and there's a ton of questions.
With that, take some questions.
Thanks, John. If we can start on the classified document leaks. Has the president been briefed on this breach, and does the U.S. government at this point have any sense of who was behind it?
So automatically, once they're saying that it's a breach, depending on John Kirby's answer, is it a breach or is it fake documents that were just put out? So he said
The
breach.
president has been briefed. He was first briefed late last week when we all got word that there were some documents out there, and he has stayed briefed and in contact with national security officials throughout the weekend. So he has been briefed. And as for the source, as you know, the Department of Defense has referred this to the Department of Justice for a criminal investigation. And I certainly would refer you to them, but I'm not aware that they've come to any conclusions at this point about where they're coming from.
And just to follow up on that, at this point, do you believe the leak is contained? Are there more documents out there that have not been released publicly? Is this an ongoing threat?
We don't know.
I would think that they would know, because whatever document was put out there, and there's documents on social media. I'm not going to put it up because even John had said, I said, and I believe it's so you don't know if anything has been altered, and I don't want to put fake documents out there, but they should know by now what has been duplicated in some way already, and what has not been duplicated. So they should have that. They should have that answer, John. But we're gonna look at uh some more. Let me just get them here. This is really interesting. This is really interesting to know what is going on here. Where are these documents coming from? What is on these documents? I think we really need to know. We need to know more, John. We need to know more. So here is John uh being asked a whole lot more questions. I mean, he's trained to answer these questions. He's trained to say enough to make the media okay, but and let the public feel safe, and confident that the White House is doing what they're supposed to be doing without saying too much, because there are people in other countries watching these press briefings just like we are watching these press briefings and trying to see how much information they can get to get ahead. So let's listen to some more questions from the media.
Thank you, Kirby. In light of the classified documents, I wonder if you could tell us when was the last time the protocol to grant security clearances was updated or revised in the government, and in light of the leaks, does the president believe you should take another look at that?
Automatically, she is trying to get him to talk about whether they think it's somebody who had security clearance or access. She's not talking the hacker cyber attack way. She's saying, could it be, do we need to update our security system, our verification, our approval process? They're not going to stop with these questions.
I think the Department of Defense has already started to take a look at distribution, for instance, at the Pentagon. I'll let them speak to that. I don't know the answer to your question on protocols.
So he's saying that Department of Defense, Department of Justice, these two are involved in this whole highly classified leaked documents. So he's confirming that they've already started to see who may have had access. So they started the process. It's just that the media, is not giving them time. That, according to John, give us a minute. Give us a minute.
For who is or who is not granted security clearances, there is already in place and remains in place a very diligent, deliberate effort to manage security clearances. And sometimes we get knocked because it takes a little too long for people's clearances to get approved because the process is so careful and deliberate. I think to your question, I think we just need to be careful right now speculating or guessing what might be behind or who might be behind what looks like a potential leak here of classified information. So we need to let the process sort of bear itself out.
John thought that first question, and he answered it, and he said, "Give them a minute, let them figure it out." He thought that was going to be the end of it. Oh no. These journalists, they have a whole lot more questions about this leak for you, John.
Are you saying there's a question over whether this was a leak by someone who had access to the materials?
I'm saying we don't know.
She's asking again. So you're saying they did all this, they're doing all this investigation internal, could it possibly be?
Which is why I'm going to, I think
says, no, I don't
you're
know.
getting to remedies, and I understand that. We're only a couple of days into this. We need to let the Department of Justice do their job, investigate this, see what they learn. Now, again, that said, the Department of Defense has already said that they're taking a look at distribution and looking if there's changes they need to make administratively there at the Pentagon, since it appears that they have the locus of most.
And that could be, staff, or that could be technology. It could be either one. So he's pretty trained in how to say it and make sure he's saying it the same way every time, because the news will ask the same question 10 different times. So he's basically saying the same thing. Let them figure it out. I'll come back to you. And we're going to keep on top of the
documents. But again, before we start making major muscle movements, we really need to know what we got here and have a better sense from the Justice Department.
Just a couple of quick follow-ups. Do you have a sense of the number of people who would have had access to these documents currently prepared for the joint staff?
I do
Is
not.
it hundreds, thousands?
I do not. I'd refer you to the Defense Department.
And then, given this leak and previous leaks.
He said previous leaks.
People think that the administration is losing the battle against whoever wants to steal our secrets, whether it's foreign adversaries or hackers or whomever.
I think the American people need to know and deserve to know that we're taking this very, very seriously. The president.
I hope so, John. I hope so.
The president has been briefed on this. He will stay briefed on this. The Department of Defense is looking into this. They are leading an interagency effort here to review whatever national security implications might come out of all this. and the Department of Justice is leading a criminal investigation. So we're taking this very, very seriously. There is uh, no excuse for these kinds of documents to be in the public domain. They don't deserve to be in the public domain. They deserve to be protected. So we're going to get to the bottom of this, and then if there's actions that need to be taken as we learn more about the extent of what happened here, we'll obviously take those.
He seems pretty nervous about this, and he's well trained. What I would like to know, John, is what was on those documents and how dangerous it is to us. And who do you think has the real ones? These are the questions that we need to have answered here regarding these documents.
Are there plans for President Biden to speak with President Zelensky over the leak, or is the White House offering any kind of reassurance to Ukrainian officials about the safety of some of their most sensitive information?
U.S. officials have been in touch with relevant allies and partners over the last couple of days at very high levels. I'll leave it at that.
And can you speak to not just the potential leak?
So, the president of Ukraine is getting a lot of support from America. So, for it to be alleged that the U.S. is saying Ukraine is weak and they don't, they're not too confident in them winning the war, then, what must the Ukraine president be thinking? So he said they're in communication, but still, or even his personal information is leaked, because John is clearly saying yes, something has been leaked, because they could have come out and say all those documents are fake. Those don't belong to us, but he's saying yes, those are documents and they were leaked.
Here, but what appears to be some doctoring of the information. Is this something where it's possible that there may have been a leak, but then a different actor came in, manipulated the information, and posted it online? What's the working theory in terms of the actual altering of this information?
I don't know that we've arrived at a working theory. It does appear that at least in some cases, the information posted online had been altered.
In some cases, so that mean in majority of cases, that's our top secrets out there on social media. Is that what you're saying, John? Those are in some is altered, but the rest of it look kind of real.
From what we think would be the original source. But there's just no way I can tell you with any granularity right now how that came to be. We're diving into this as strenuously as we can to try to understand that. And in keeping with your point, I mean, we urge all of you to be very careful about how you report on this story, since we know at least in some cases that information was doctored.
Thanks. Two questions, Sean. First on.
So they know that some of the documents have been altered, and now they're concerned. They're really concerned about disinformation being out there. The news is on top of them. We are gonna stay on top of it. We are gonna follow and see what happens to this investigation. And let's see some more questions that he is being asked.
On the classified documents, has any of that leak led to a direct compromise of efforts to support Ukraine from this administration? And secondly,
So the way he asks this question, because it's being alleged that they're not feeling confident in the war with Ukraine and Russia, and this is what the U.S. is. These documents were being reported to say, but we don't know. I don't know. I haven't seen the documents. He's asking, well, do you all still want to support them and give them all that money that you've been giving them? Is this what you still want to do? If that's how you really feel? Let's
those
listen.
who are in that business say that the biggest problem we have is that we need software and hardware upgrades to guarantee that we don't get hacked. Is there any indication that the government is going to invest in the infrastructure to make sure that you can block that in the future?
So on your first question, no, we continue to support Ukraine. That's not going to change. President's been. I'm not going to talk about the specific documents that are out there or speak to intelligence. I think you can understand why I wouldn't do that. Your question was, has there been any effect on support to Ukraine? The answer is no. We're going to continue to support Ukraine, as the president has said, for as long as it takes. On technological upgrades, again, I don't have anything to speak to today, and I don't know that even if we did, that
I have a video with New York City Mayor Eric Adams and New York State Governor Kathy Hochul talking about the issue of cybersecurity threats, how big it is. So, I mean, that was a valid question that he asked. I would think, John, the normal question, the answer would be, yes, we are always improving our security systems. Cybersecurity is something real, and we are always improving. We are always looking to hire, you know, um, uh, people who want to who understand technology and engineers who can help us stop these cyber attacks. But uh, yeah, that could be that could be what have happened. What happened?
we would talk about that in a public setting. But again, we're only a few days into this. We've got an investigation going on at Justice. We got DOD looking at their processes over there. I think we need to let those two agencies do their job, do that work.
Thanks. Just to follow up on the documents, is the White House concerned about the period of time that elapsed from when they were posted to when they sort of gained traction?
We're worried that these documents are out there, ma'am. They shouldn't be out there, period. That's the big worry. And in trying to figure out how that happened. And I'm sure as a part of that, the time.
He is very worried about those documents being out there. Very worried. We are going to stay on top of this. Please make sure you subscribe, like, and share. We are going to stay on top of this. We are going to find out why the White House is so concerned about these documents being out here. This is John Kirby at the White House briefing, answering questions from the media regarding highly classified leaked documents. They're trying to figure out if it was someone who had security access or if it was some type of hacking. He When the media speak about the hacking part, he doesn't really get to that part. But when the media asks him questions about, who may have access and internal he's a little bit more for that. We don't know. The documents are on social media, but you don't know which one has been altered, which ones have not been altered. But here he says it. He's very, very concerned about these documents being leaked.
Timeline will be looked at as well. But the main concern is that they're out there, period. They don't need to, they shouldn't be. Absolutely shouldn't be in the public domain.
Thanks, Ray. John, has the U.S. changed its timeline for getting the necessary weapons to the Ukraine military in any way?
I'm not going to, I wouldn't, even in the wake of, even before this story, I would not sit here and talk about specific timelines of equipment deliveries. You guys know that. I'll go back to what I said to Brian. We're going to continue to support Ukraine. That hasn't changed. It's not going to change.
So you see, that's what they want to know now. After what is being alleged to be said about Ukraine by the US in these documents, are you going to pull back? Are you going to still spend the money? Are you going to still support them? Do you still is this what that means, that you're trying to pull out from helping them? And John says, no, we're going to continue helping them. That's a silly question. Even without this, that has nothing to do with it. We will follow it and bring it to you here.